So welcome, Emma. Um, to kick off today's conversation, could you please tell me your name and who you work for?
Sure. My name's Emma Brooks, and I'm the Managing Director of Quintex Systems Limited.
Can you tell us about your current role at Quintex Systems, what that involves and what motivates you day to day?
So, Quintex is the manufacturer of a demand control kitchen ventilation system called Cheetah, which is listed on the energy technology list. We also have other products which are related to energy savings and grease management, as well as offering a full package for kitchen ventilation. So my role is to provide strategic leadership to the business and my team, and ensure that our customers are given the best products and service possible. We actually design, supply, and install our own products. So I'm overseeing sales, operations, production, research and development, and finance, as well as dealing with HR and obviously having the overriding responsibility for health and safety in the business as well. Our motivation as a team, it's not just about me, we're a big team. Well, actually, we're a small team, but we're big in personality. And yeah, we're motivated by getting great feedback if an installation's gone really well, if customers are happy, and see savings, from when we've immediately installed the system. I'm personally motivated by the success of the business, but also to see the people that are around me working for the business are happy in the job that they're doing, and you feel part of, something, part of not just a number in a big corporate. We're a small team, as I said. So I think, yeah, to see everyone be happy in their role, and just, I just strive to give them the support that I can so that we can be a great team. I'm also the chair of the Food Service Equipment Association, where I oversee the board and the council, ensuring that we engage with our members and provide support to the industry on various topics such as legislation, training, technical policy, market analysis, and then finally I sit on a BSI working group for ventilation standards, and the reason for that is I'm trying to push for demand control ventilation to become mandatory in the UK as it is in the US.
Can you share with me how your career choices led you to your current role and actually the roles that you mentioned, which is not just one, quite a few, and what inspired you to do this work?
Sure. So I actually started with Quintex in 2004 as office manager. I met the owner of the business. Funnily enough, we actually worked in an enterprise centre for small businesses. I worked for a training company at the time, and they used to do a coffee morning every Thursday so all the businesses could get together and network and stuff. And we met, and then he offered me the job. So I joined Quintex in 2004. Quickly realised that I wanted to progress, and we had two salespeople at the time, and they left. So we needed a new salesperson. So I sort of put my hand up and said, I can do that. It's easy, surely. It's just talking to people, and that's okay. I'm good at chatting. So yeah, I became salesperson for Quintex after about probably 6 months to a year of being office manager. I was quite successful in signing up our clients, and then I actually had a break. So I was sales manager for quite a long time. And then I had a break in 2016. I had 6 months away from Quintex due to an ownership change. I won't go into all of the details of that. But the guy that employed me in 2004 actually sold the business in 2013 and then bought it back in 2017. And that's when I went back to Quintex, when he bought it back again. And I was again employed as sales manager. And at the time, I think it was sort of around 2019, there was an operations manager who worked there. He left. And again, I said, oh, I could run the business. I put my head above the parapet again and said I can do that. I became general manager in 2019. And then COVID hit in 2020, obviously. And after sort of successfully bringing the business out of that awful situation, I was made managing director in 2020 and have been doing that role ever since, really.
Could you share with us some of the biggest challenges you have faced, especially as a woman in this very male-dominated industry, and any insights into how you have navigated through them to get to where you are today? For example, any gender biases, or were there any stereotyping you might have faced during your career?
Yeah, sure. I do. I have some views on this subject. One of which is I feel sometimes that we actually need to change the narrative, because largely, from my experience, men don't want to create challenges for women. In majority, it seems to be in the minority, but obviously the minority stands out and the minority causes disruption, and we see that across the whole world, really, whether it's a gender related thing, a religion related thing. But in my role as the chair of the FEA, I have had absolutely nothing but support and kindness, and everyone wanting me to succeed. And so in November, I became the chair of the FEA, and I had to present at the conference, and I had to do the opening speech for the conference. I had to do the closing speech for the conference, I had to do the AGM, I had to do all sorts of things. And that was very nerve-wracking. I'm not a natural speaker. I've never really done it before. In fact, it was all new to me. But I got this great photograph because we had an informal dinner on the first night before the conference, and everybody actually stood up and gave me a round of applause, which was so nice. And then I took a picture of them all, and I've still got the picture, and everyone's just smiling back at me, and there was like 150 people in the room, and it was just such a great feeling. And that's really, that kind of encompasses the sort of experience I've had so far in that role. I've had some challenges again with, more so because our product's quite technical. And again, this is going back, not anymore. I don't have those challenges anymore. But going back when I first started selling the product, because it was technical, people would obviously try to trip you up, and when I say people, I mean men, because that was who I was mainly presenting to, because as you say, it's a male-dominated industry. But what I would actually do is take my boss along with me, who was a male, as a support for those sort of technical questions. But he always said to me that no one will know your product better than you. And also I found it was okay to say, I don't know the answer to that, and I'll get back to you. And I think people respected that a little bit more than you sort of fumbling through an answer, them sitting there going, she's talking absolute nonsense. I'm going to just ask her another tricky question and see if I can catch her out, So I think as a salesperson as well, having that honesty about you and not fumbling through those things. Whether that's a man or a woman, to be honest with you, I'm not sure. And I think, you know, inside me, I feel like I have to prove myself because I'm female. But I don't know if that's just something in me or women in general, or whether it's a natural thing, whether, I mean, it is, whether it's because of this sort of narrative around challenges women have. Are we almost making more challenges for ourselves by essentially making it an issue? I don't know.
We'd also love to hear a bit more about your achievements. So if you could maybe share what one of your biggest achievements in your career so far.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a few really greatest achievements, and they've all, some of which have happened very recently. But you know, becoming the managing director of Quintex, you know, I put myself up for it. I didn't get asked to do it. I just put myself forward for it. But it is a great achievement, you know, to run a business with literally no running a business experience, no experience of HR and all of those things. And I've literally learned it whilst doing it. And I think I think really that the thing is it's okay to fail. And you're never always going to get it right. You know, it's never going to be perfect. We don't live in a perfect world. Perfection actually doesn't exist. So I think, yeah, I feel proud of myself to have become the managing director and continued doing that for the past 5 years. The other thing is to have been nominated to sit on the council of the FEA. So I was nominated by peers in the industry. I was chosen to be vice chair by a guy called Paul Anderson. And then I became chair in November. And that will be a 2-year tenure. And then I've just come back from Atlanta only just over a week ago, where a similar organisation to the FEA, an organisation called NAFEM, which is the American equivalent, they hold a big trade show, and they award the chair of the FEA with an honorary doctorate, along with other people in the industry. So I went out to Atlanta 2 weeks ago to collect my honorary doctorate, which, you know, it's crazy that it's me, you know, but it's an amazing achievement, I think, you know, and I should be proud of myself. And I think that's one of the things is, if you've done great things, then you should be able to speak about them.
Is it correct that you are the first female chair of FEA? Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So I'm the 85th chair of the FEA, and the first female. And there's a chain of honour that you get to wear. And it's got little badges on it for every other person that's been the chair before me. And it dates back to 1939 when the first chairman then, and it used to say chairman on the thing, and they had to change it to say chair for me. So yeah, I mean, yeah, it's quite an achievement, I would say.
Could you describe your leadership style? How has that evolved over time, and why?
Sure. Yeah, I think I try to be fair, empathetic, kind, thoughtful, and, you know, caring to the people who report to me. You know, I don't always get it right. I think over the past 5 years, I haven't always got it right. It's everyone's different, and I think in this world that we now live in, we have to be so much more considerate to people's circumstances, and I think listening is important. I think trust. Yeah, my people need to trust me that I've got their back. I think you need to show humanity. All my people have seen me cry. And I think one of the biggest things is being patient. And I'm not a very patient person, really. I want stuff done now. And I want it done how I want it done. But you can't be like that. You can't. And in fact, again, the owner of the business, he always says to me that, no one will do it the way you want to do it, or you would do it. So you have to be patient. And I've learned that to get the best out of people, sometimes you've just got to work at their pace, not your pace, even though you might find that a little bit frustrating at times. You can't show them that either, because they'll just back up and go, well, fine, then you do it, sort of thing. And and I probably am a little bit of a control freak. I think we probably all are, if we admit, if we are honest with ourselves, we can all be a little bit of a control freak. But being a manager, you have to be careful not to micromanage people and let them, make mistakes. And I think I do say that to the guys, like, it's okay if something goes wrong, if you make a mistake, it really doesn't matter. Really, as long as no one's been hurt, it doesn't matter. Whatever it is, we can fix it. And we can learn from it. We can learn for next time. But, no one's perfect. And sometimes you get it wrong. But I try to just think about how I would like to be treated as well. And hope that I, give that same care and thought to my guys.
What do you consider to be the skills needed to succeed? And are there any tools or techniques that can help them accelerate their career?
Yeah, so I think you need to be proactive, have a proactive approach. You'll be, no doubt, need to be good at multitasking, and juggling lots of balls and hoping you don't drop one. I think always sort of thinking about that what if scenario is a good skill to have. Self-awareness. And again, that goes back to my leadership as well. Self-awareness, being aware of your own emotions, think before acting, write the angry email, but then go to bed and wake up the next morning, reread it and don't send it. And again, it's all listening. Listening is so important. And I think as women, we're good at listening. We're good listeners. I would consider myself a good listener. And I say, and again, I say to people, I'm happy to listen. If you want to rant, I'll listen. If you don't want me to say anything, I won't say anything. If you want my views, I'll give you my views and my thoughts. And then just that patience thing. Those are sort of skills I would say, that are important. Looking for opportunities for training, as well, to sort of help accelerate your career, and even making suggestions for yourself, not waiting for somebody to tell you what you maybe should or shouldn't do. And I think that probably goes back to being proactive. I think that's a really important skill to have.
In terms of specific skills for the sector, do you have any recommendations? And it's for someone who is trying to make this first step or to grow within the sector. Any specific training courses or networking groups that can help them?
Yeah, so I would highly recommend a course I did, which is called effective leadership through emotional intelligence. That was really eye-opening and really, really interesting. I joined a mentoring program called Balance the Board, and you put yourself forward for that. You were given a mentor in the industry, and that, you know, we used to sort of catch up on a monthly basis and just talk through certain scenarios. And it was really helpful as well, because they're not in the business. They don't have the emotional feelings that you do about the business, so they can offer you some, you know, some valued input and ideas, a bit more sort of objective rather than you know, when you're in it, it's hard sometimes to take yourself out of it, and they give that sort of helicopter approach, sort of overlooking there. I think, again, if there's an association that's linked to your industry, obviously we've got the food service equipment industry. So my company is sort of sits on the periphery of the energy industry and the hospitality industry, hence why I'm part of the Food Service Equipment Association. And, you know, if your company is a member of that association, I think you're finding out how you can get involved, whichever part of the business you're at, whether you're at a junior level, because a lot of these associations will have something for either apprentices, young people. They have lots of programs that you can get involved in, and generally, if you're a member of that association, it's sort of free information. You know, there's lots of information that they hold there. You've got the FVA, and then you've got another organisation called the BISA, which also they have a lot of information and various groups for young people and all of that sort of stuff.
What do you think are the main changes needed to encourage more women enter the industry and take on more leadership roles?
I think, again, there needs to be more sort of mentoring from school and college and university, if right up into your working life. And I think, you know, there's evidence to show that if a business has a balanced board, you know, 50% women, 50% men, then businesses are more successful with that sort of, you know, balanced approach. I think it's just about giving people the opportunity.
Why do you believe more women should consider a career in energy technology? I know you touched base on it a little bit, but it'd be good to hear some specific points from you.
I mean, firstly, again, I think to balance the board, to get those you know, women into leadership roles, I think it's a great industry to be involved in. You know, sustainability and energy technology is a huge subject at the moment. I think we need young people, men and women, to bring innovation, new ideas, bring change, you know, be inspirational. It's a great career opportunity for people, as it, you know, and it crosses many industries. Whether that's, like, as I said before, whether that's hospitality or working for an energy company, it crosses so many paths. And, you know, I think I'm really passionate about sustainability as well. And I think being a part of that movement to, you know, again, I don't want to get too heavy on climate crisis and all of that sort of stuff, but it's a thing, it's happening. You know, we can be in denial, but I think just bringing young people on board, and I think also I think young people should ask more questions, and I think they do, and they want different answers. They don't want to hear the same thing over and over again. And you know, and again, I think we just can bring a different perspective as females, a different view on life, and the future.